Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkrupatam ham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. So thank you so much everyone. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for joining the session where we are actually doing the Shikshashtakam seminar series. We have completed 7 verses and today we are going to talk about the most important or the pinnacle or the summit of love that is there of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. That all we are going to discuss today. So it is very difficult to understand this mood, and even though I am sharing this knowledge with you, I am sure that I don't understand all this. All right. So, but I am trying to understand by sharing little bit so that in future I may be able to understand this mood of Shikshashtakam text 8. So we'll read the verse and translation and we'll discuss on this. Ashlishya va padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotuva yatha tatha va vidadhatu lampato Mat prananathastu sa eva na paraha. Let Krishna tightly embrace me. Let Krishna tightly embrace me, embrace this maid servant who has fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me or break my heart by never being visitable to me. He is a debauchee after all and can do whatever he likes, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart. So actually, if we see, generally we want to love someone who will love us back and who is acting in favor of us. But we cannot actually say to anyone that, you can do anything with me, I'll still love with you. I'll be still loving you. So this thing actually very difficult to understand. When we talk about the first 5 verses of the Shikshashtakam, if we have some senses, some mind, some intelligence, we can understand. But to understand 6, 7, 8, we have to have very high spiritual emotions. Otherwise, we cannot understand. Now, when we talk about love, love can be one-sided. But when we talk about loving relationship, it has to be two-sided. So in when we love someone, there can be 3 different levels. In first, we are loving someone and that person is loving back. So the loving reciprocation is there in that relationship, then it is very good and we all want that only. But there is an another level where in a relationship you are loving, but the other person is not loving back. Okay, so that is a very difficult relationship to maintain. But more than that is difficult when the person whom we love is not loving us back, he is rejecting us and started loving someone else. So it is very difficult to bear actually, right? That means A is loving B, B is not loving back A, but B is loving C. And then at that time for A to maintain love is very, very difficult, right? So this Lampata means Krishna leaves sometimes Srimati Radharani and goes to other gopis, but still she doesn't stop loving Krishna. Sa eva na paraha. So this we will try to understand by taking different pastimes. So when Akrura was suggested or when he was being ordered by Kamsa to get Krishna and Balram to Mathura, because he was unable to kill him in Vrindavan, so he thought like I'll get them to here Mathura and I'll get them killed, right? So that time, all the gopis were actually coming in front of the chariot where Akrura is taking Krishna and Balram, and they tried anything and everything to stop them. So till that time, the meetings between Gopi and Krishna, Srimati Radha and Krishna, all those happened very secretly, very sacredly. That means they were not visible to others. Even when you talk about Rasa Leela or when Krishna is exchanging the glances with gopis, that happened in a very secretive or very reserved way. But that day when Akrura was taking Krishna and Balram, that time they broke all the reservations, all the secrecy. So there is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 10th canto, 39th chapter, where Sri Shukadeva Goswami says, Evam bruvana viraha turabhrusham व्रजस्त्रियः कृष्णविषक्तमानसाः विसृज्य लज्जामृरुधुः स्म सुस्वरं Govind Damodara Madhaveti. So actually, the gopis have kept all the modesty, all the conservations that can actually be done maintained, because for them all this modesty, all this shyness and all, which is very important for a woman, that has meaning until Krishna is there. When Krishna is leaving us, nothing has a meaning. So they broke everything and they actually went inside, sorry, in front of the way, this chariot, and they told, like, if you want to go, you have to trample us under the wheel of that chariot, and then you have to move ahead. So you can go by killing us only, because by leaving you are actually killing us. So then Krishna actually says to them, please don't do like this. Okay. I promise that I'll come back very soon. Okay. So because of that, the gopis agrees and Krishna and Balram comes here. So actually, Nanda Maharaj never believed, or the Brajavasis never believed that Krishna doesn't belong to them, or they never thought like Krishna will not come back. Okay. So they never thought like Krishna will leave Vrindavan. But this thing happened. So when Krishna comes to Mathura, he kills Kamsa. After that, he decides, okay, fine, I came here and I killed him, so I'll go back to Vrindavan. But the Mathura Vasis, right? The ministers of Mathura and his parents and all, they started saying, actually, you killed Kamsa. But Kamsa is not alone. He has many allies, many followers. When they come to know that Kamsa is being killed by you for us, then they will start attacking us. And that time, if you are not there, whose shelter we can take? So you be here only. So Krishna thought of convincing them by telling that, whenever there will be attack, I will come back and I will save you. But then they said, like, there might be no chance. Why to take that risk? So why don't you stay here? Because you belong here only. So then he says, no, no, I'm actually a Brajavasi. I belong to Nand Maharaj and all. But they said, no, no. Actually, as per the Akashavani or the Bhavishyavani, the eighth son of Devaki will be the killer of this Kamsa. So you killed Kamsa, so you must be the eighth son of Devaki. So you should stay with us. So while this was happening, Nanda Maharaj was actually happy. Inside, he was actually feeling little bad because they are asking Krishna to stay. But he was also happy because, and he started telling, it is our fortune that great people are claiming our son to be their son, right? So actually, there is a very confidential pastime which happens, because of which Nanda Maharaj cannot believe or cannot accept that Krishna is not their son. And Vasudeva also always think that Krishna is the son of him only, right? So what happens is, when Vasudeva actually taking Krishna to Gokul. At the same time, Yashoda Mai gave birth to twins, and the twins are, one is Subhadra and the other one is Krishna. So the Krishna who took birth with Vasudeva and Devaki, that is Vasudev Krishna. But the Krishna which took birth through Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, that is Vrindavan Krishna. So both are existing at the same time. So when actually he actually taken Vasudev Krishna to our this one Gokul, that time Vasudev could not see the Krishna who is already there, because he can only see the Vasudev Krishna, okay, the Vasudev, but he cannot see that Vrindavan Krishna. So when he put the baby into that cradle and he took Subhadra, that time what happened? The Krishna who was already present in the cradle and the Krishna who was being bought by Vasudev, they both actually merged into one. And that is why there was only one Krishna. And the Krishna who left Vrindavan is not Vrindavan Krishna, but Vasudeva or Vasudev Krishna. Okay. So when you read Krishna book, you can actually find out that his expansion has come out. Krishna never uses any weapon. He only uses the flute. That is why in the Vrindavan also, whomever he killed with his hands only. Right. He never used a weapon. But whomever he killed after going outside the Vrindavan, he used weapons. Right. So the thing is that Krishna was not visible to Brajavasis, because as per the Leela, he left the Vrindavan. Okay, and this two Krishnas are there, they got merged and all. These are confidential, or you can say most confidential pastimes, or the philosophy which generally many people doesn't know it, right? So Vrindavan, like when Krishna will never leave Vrindavan, okay, but the one who left is Vasudev, but for the Leela, he was not visible to the gopis. So that time, actually, when the separation is there from Krishna for gopis and Srimati Radharani, it is actually unbearable. So much so that it is like a fire. They feel like dying is better than living without Krishna. But none of them died. None of them thought like we should leave our body. Why? Because they are hopeful, because Krishna said, I will come back very soon. Right? So when we see the Srimad Srimad Bhagavatam, the hierarchy is always reversed because of bhakti. When we see the pastime of Ambrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni, as per the Varnashrama Dharma, the Brahmanas has to be the top, and under them the Kshatriyas has to be there. Then Vaishyas, then Shudras. But we see that Ambrish Maharaj, being a Kshatriya also, he actually exhibits the highest quality of devotion in terms of when Durvasa Muni actually got angry and he wanted to send a demon to kill Ambrish Maharaj. So actually, Durvasa Muni is a Brahmana. He has to have the control, sense control, anger control, and everything. He loses the control, but Ambrish Maharaj is very sense control and very much devoted. So Kshatriya has to be like this, Brahmana has to be up, but because of the bhakti, it reverses. So similarly, we see in the pastime in the sixth canto where Vritrasura is a asura, he's a Rakshasa. Okay, he's a demon. And who is Indra? He's actually Devata, he's a demigod. So the demigod has to be top, the Rakshasas or the demons has to be at the down. But actually, when you hear the conversation between Vritrasura and Indra, Vritrasura inspires Indra to believe in Krishna and take the weapon that is given by Krishna and kill me. All right. So he loses the faith. He actually get discouraged when he falls down. But Vritrasura encourages him and tells that, this weapon is made to kill me. And this is made and promised by Krishna, or the Supreme Lord. You just take and kill me. So he, being a demon, he shows a higher level than Indra. And when we hear the pastime of Yagnik Brahman Patnis also, the wives of the Brahmanas who were performing yajnas, when the friends of Krishna and Balram went there and they told Krishna and Balram are hungry, please give something, some prasadam. They said, we are performing the yagna, we are at the very important stage, we cannot give you prasadam, please do not disturb us, right? So they rejected to give prasadam. But next they went to the wives of the Brahmanas. They were not scholars, they don't know how to perform a yagna, they don't know how to read the shastras, they don't have all knowledge. But when they heard that Krishna is hungry, they wanted to serve without any thought. And that is why they actually stood higher than this Brahmanas. Later in this pastime, the Brahmanas realized that, the hell with the Shastras that we read and the hell with our scholastic education, which actually doesn't allow us to serve Krishna. Actually, the purpose or the essence of all the Shastras, all the yagnas is to satisfy Vishnu, isn't to satisfy Krishna. But we didn't do that. Our wives actually done the right thing, right? They actually went and served Krishna. So what happened? So the hierarchy which is has to be there, that is getting reversed because of bhakti. Similarly, we see that gopis always stay high, right? They on the highest stature of bhakti. Why? Because there is a pastime where Narada Muni inquires who are his great devotees. With Lord Vishnu, he asks like, or Krishna, he asks who are great devotees or who are the topmost devotees. Then he says like, now I am having a headache. Okay, I cannot tell you the answer. So then Narad Muni asks, how can you have a headache? You are Sachidananda Vigraha, right? You don't have a material body which can have pain or this and thing. So you cannot have headache. And he says, no, no, I have it. Now, the difference between Krishna's headache and our headache is that we don't want headache, but the headache will come. We want the headache to leave, but it doesn't leave. Right? But Krishna's headache will come whenever he want it to come, and he can leave whenever he says go. So somehow Narada Muni says, okay, fine, you have it now, you can do anything. So let me know how it can be reduced. Then he says, get the dust of the lotus feet of my devotees, right? And then actually my headache will go. Okay. He said, dust of the feet of your devotees. Okay, how it is possible that it can do that? Then Krishna says, no, no, just get it and it will be done. So you are also a devotee, na? So get your lotus, get your dust of your feet. Then Narad Muni says, no, 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 no. Actually, we have to put your lotus feet dust on our head. We are not supposed to put our feet's dust on your head. If we do that, we'll go to hell, right? We should not do that. Then he says, just go around and check who can give it to me because I want to get rid of this headache. And Narada Muni goes to almost every great devotee whom we know. Then all of them rejects. They say like, no, no, this is not possible. How can we give our dust to Krishna? So it is not good. So then finally he goes to gopis. And gopis, when they hear, they immediately go and wash their feet in the Yamuna so that the wet feet can acquire more dust. So they wanted to rub their, feet in the sand like that so that they can increase the dust quantity and all, right? So they then started rubbing their feet and all. They collected into something and they gave it to Narada Muni. They said, immediately go and reduce the headache of Krishna. So then Narada Muni said, like, I think you have no knowledge about what you are doing. Actually, if you give the dust of your feet to Krishna to put on his head, you might go to hell. Then they said, actually, we are already in hell. The moment you said that Krishna is having headache, we already started feeling hell. Because how we can be happy or how we can feel good if Krishna has headache? If Krishna's headache can come down even for a second because of this dust, then we are ready to go to hell for many, many times. So our concern is that Krishna's headache has to come down. So this is the stretcher where gopis actually have love for Krishna. So they doesn't think about themselves. They don't care whether they will go to heaven or hell, but they don't care whether they will be here or anywhere. What is their concern is that they want to please Krishna, they want to see Krishna happy. So actually, in the Leela arrangement is such that in Vraja, that gopis are not married to Krishna, but they still have a lot of love for Krishna. This is called as Parakiya Bhav. In material world, this Parakiya Bhav is misunderstood. Right? If you are married to someone, yet you are loving other person, it is not legitimate, right? But in the spiritual world, if you see, this Parakiya Bhava is so high, right? We cannot comprehend also. Now, generally, if we see the strength or what is inside us will come out when there is an opposing situation, right? Just like there is an example which is given mostly by the taking the elephants. Okay, so elephants, when they are small, they actually bound by a shackle, an iron shackle, which they cannot break. And the more they try to break it, they will hurt themselves. So over a period of time, they decide that, I cannot break it. And because of that mindset, what happens? Even if you tie them with a rope, which can be easily broken by them, they still don't break it because they have accepted that, they cannot break it. But if you put that same elephant with that same rope in a condition where there is fire is coming, and it has to escape from that only by breaking that rope, then within a few moments it breaks and actually it goes out of it. So sometimes only an opposing situation will tell us the strength that we have inside our us, the love that we have inside our us. So when Krishna was leaving them, the gopis, whatever inside love they have, that has manifested in so much high quantity that we cannot comprehend, right? Till that time they were thinking about so many things, right? Oh, I have to keep my shyness and my modesty and all. But when Krishna was leaving, everything they broke. So what has bound them, they actually broke. Not even internal bonding, but actually external also. So in the Gopi Geet they say that pati sutanvaya bhratar bandhavan अतिवलङ्घ्यते न्युतच्युतागता गतिविदस्तवोद्गीतमोहिता कितवयोषितः कस्त्यजेन्निशि. Dear Achyuta, you know very well why we have come here. Who but a cheater like you would abandon a young woman who came to see him in the middle of the night, enchanted by loud song of his flute? Just see you, we have completely rejected our husbands, children, ancestors, brothers, and others relatives. So, for coming to Krishna, right, which Krishna has called them by blowing his flute, they left everyone and came. But in the Rasalila, what happens? Krishna will be there for some time and he leaves and they will not be visible for them. So they are actually angry and they are saying, like, you are a cheater. For you, we came and gave up everything, but you are actually giving up on us. You are leaving us and going. What kind of person you are? Now they are saying like this, but still they are loving Krishna only. If someone does like that with us, we are taking the whole risk of rejecting all our people or our opulences for someone. And if that person cheats us, we will lose faith in that person. We'll never trust that person. We'll say, like, hell with you. I will never see your face again. You just get lost. Okay, but here, the gopis, they have left everything and they came to Krishna, and Krishna is leaving them, but still their love for Krishna is not reducing. Actually, the Sarva Dharman Parityaja is being manifested in the gopis mode. They have not only given up what is bad for Krishna, but actually they have given up the good also for Krishna. Like the shy and modesty, all of these things, being with their husband, being with their family, that is all is actually good things. Okay, but for Krishna they gave up the good things also. In our sadhana bhakti, we are only talking about give up the bad things, the four regulative principles and all. We are following to give up the bad things. We are give upping durachar and all, sadachar we have to follow and all. So we are only giving up the bad things for Krishna. Okay. And Krishna is giving us the opportunity by through Srila Prabhupada, what he's saying, stay with your family, stay with your children, do devotion, no problem, no need to leave them and all, right? So they are not asking us to live good, but here the gopis are living both good and bad for the sake of Krishna. So we might have external obstacles in our bhakti. Maybe people are not supportive, our situations are not conducive, we don't have all the facilities. And sometimes internal obstacles will be there, like, our mind is not supportive. So many desires are coming and all. But for Krishna, we have to give up both external obstacles also, internal obstacles also. At what level we want to give up and at what speed we want to give up, that we may decide. But we have to understand that in between us and Krishna, whatever is coming, we have to keep it aside, right? It doesn't mean that we have to be, very harsh and we have to leave everything, we have to reject everyone, we have to hurt anyone. No, there are better ways to do this. And the gopis are showing the highest mood that, it doesn't matter who will think what about me, but I will be there for Krishna. And when Krishna is not there, I cannot live. So they are manifesting or they are demonstrating this mood so that we can get an inspiration to do little more than what we are already doing, right? So actually this feeling or this mood is so difficult to understand, that how can a person still love that person who rejected them and went to someone else. That means one person gave up everything and came to one person, and he's rejecting and he's not visible, he's going to somewhere else. So this is not easy to understand, so much difficult that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has to come. That means the same Krishna who was with the gopis, that same Krishna has to come and take an avatar in the mode of Srimati Radharani to understand what kind of love is this? How can someone sustain this much love for someone else, right? So that is why for the advent of Lord Chaitanya, there were many reasons, many confidential reasons, but this was also one of the reason, right? So when we talk about the Vrindavan story where Krishna said that I will come back very soon, many people doesn't know whether Krishna went back or not, but actually Gopal Champu, right, which says that Krishna has gone back to Vrindavan. He actually went, he united with all of them, and a big majestic aeroplane from Golaka came, and all the Brajavasis, along with Krishna, Balram, and Uddhava also, they went back home, back to Godhead. But while going, Krishna, Balram, and Uddhava has expanded, and then they have continued the further Leela in Dwarka and Mahabharata, all the other pastimes they have continued. So Krishna came back. Okay. So why we have to know this? Why this confidential Leela we have to know it? Or why we are discussing about this mood in the Shikshashtakam 8? Because in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says one of the most important feature or a quality of a devotee, that he is always Asha Baddha. That means he always have hope against the hope, right? So much so that we see in the Gajendra pastime that actually Gajendra is an animal, okay? And he prays to Lord Hari, or he actually prays to Supreme Lord. He never actually address also. Whether doesn't say Hari, Narayan, Krishna, he doesn't say. He just give the features of the Supreme Lord, and Lord Hari will come and rescue. So that time in one of the verse he says, you are Muktaya, right? So then Krishna might say, okay, I am Muktaya, but why I should release you? Then he says, Bhuri Karunaya. Oh, you are so merciful that you are always wanted to release us, right? So then he might say, like, I tried many times, but still you could not release yourself, or you could not take my help properly. Then he says, Namo Alaya. That means you are never tired. Okay. So this is the faith that we have to show in our Krishna. Krishna is liberated, Krishna is all merciful, and Krishna is never tired in helping us get back home, back to Godhead. So Krishna never breaks promises. Krishna always fulfills all the words that he promises to us. Like in Bhagavad Gita, he says, you know, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Or he says, Naptumanti Kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. He says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So he's promising that, you just take shelter of me, you know about me, you understand my activities, you need not come back to this world, you can be with me and all. So he's all saying that we should have faith that yes, these are all true. And what kind of faith we should have? Like the gopis, they actually waited till Krishna come back. They can actually die, but none of them leave their body because they thought if Krishna comes back, who will serve him? And actually, there is an analogy which is being shared in Chaitanya Charitamrita where Srimati Radharani's mood is given, where Srimati Radharani's body is like a cage that is set on fire. So when there is a bird inside a small cage, and if that bird is being surrounded by fire in that cage, then it will try to get out of the cage some or other way. But here, Srimati Radharani says, actually, this body inside which my life is there, right? I wanted to get out of this because I cannot bear this separation. So, this love in separation, it is actually burning me. But actually, I'm unable to leave this body. You know why? Because there is a bolt or there is a lock to this cage. And what kind of lock or bolt is that? It is your words that you will come back very soon. So you just said that you will come back. That is the reason I am unable to leave this body. Otherwise, I have no reason to stand over in this body. Right? So we have to be like that Asha Badda. Krishna said he'll come back. Because of that, it was very difficult for them to survive, but still they stayed alive, hopeful. So we also might go through so many problems in our life, but actually, Krishna promised now that he will take us back home, back to Godhead. If we follow the process of bhakti, we can actually get the association of Krishna. We can get free from all the miseries of this world. So even though we are going through miseries, even though we are going through difficulties, we should have faith that Krishna will come and we can be with Krishna eternally. So in this temporary world, everything is temporary. Even our problems are temporary, our miseries are temporary. So the permanent thing, Krishna, the permanent relationship between us and Krishna, it will always be there. So we should always be Asha Baddha. We should be faithful to Krishna, even though the things are not going in our way. See, most of the times we want to faithful to Krishna, we want to love Krishna only when things happen in favor to us. Otherwise, we will say, like, I thought, Krishna, you will do this for me, you will do that for me. People said, like, you will do this and all. But I could not see any improvement or any happiness in my life. Even after becoming a devotee, my life has become more miserable, actually. Right. So now, like, when Mataji was sharing, like, I am not able to get association of devotees and all. You said, I want to have devotees, and you given me no facilities to have an association. Right. So how it is possible? So sometimes this can go into a complaining mood also, right? Some of you may not have complaining mood, but this can lead to complaining mood, and we may start feeling disheartened, and we may start feeling discouraged to love Krishna, to discouraged to be faithful to Krishna. But we have to always remember that yes, it is very difficult to go through all the situations, but just like gopis, we should have the faith that Krishna will actually fulfill all his words, and the sooner or later we will get out of all these clutches of this material world. So when we talk about this gopis mode, Srimati Radharani mode and all, we feel like, it is indigestible. I cannot understand this feeling, right? How can this be possible, right? I have never experienced like this. I have never believed or I have never seen them, right? So it is very difficult to believe us, but actually we may not be able to understand their mood as of now, right? And we may think like we can never become like that. I don't think it is possible for me. But actually, this all knowledge we are getting so that we can have hope and faith that one day we can also go to that level. We may not become like Srimati Radharani or the Gopis, but we can reach to that standard of love some or other way. And we can also feel love for Krishna in such a way, right? Not as intense as them, but yeah, in a very good amount of intensity, we can feel separation and we can feel love for Krishna by seeing our back. That means we might feel like, it's a very, very long way to reach to that stage. But actually, when we see only what is far ahead, we may get discouraged. That time we should look back also. Imagine who you were, right? Or you just check who you were 4 5 years, or the all the years that you have spent in bhakti before that, who you were, right? We were all like materialistic. We don't want God. We are not interested. We may be religious. We may go to temple. We may pray. We may put a coin in hundi. We may go on some kirtan or something and all, but we were never seriously interested into bhakti, right? And when some people told like you have to chant 16 rounds, we were like, impossible. I cannot do it, right? One round itself is difficult for me. Even my Saturday, Sundays are always packed, right? How can I spend time for all this? But today, many of us are doing 2 hours of chanting, listening to an hour of class, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and all. We are able to do so many things which we thought impossible, right? Now, similarly, we will be able to do many things that we are listening today if we continue this process. That same Krishna who brought us from that low level to this level today will take us to the high level also. Whatever seems impossible for us, right, may become possible if we stick to the process. We may not know how to make this possible things impossible as possible. We may not know the ways and means how we can get these things, better. We may not know or have any idea like, how we'll become better and all. But if you sustain in the process, if you have faith in Krishna, then the doors will gradually open. That's just like how they opened from our low level to this level. Similarly, Krishna will open many doors. He will show us many ways. He will send many more support. Just like now Raghunath Puridas Prabhu was telling, if we are eager to grow and if we are eager to have the association of devotees, Krishna will make some or other arrangement. We are coming together for this online class is also his arrangement only. What me or Raghunath Puridas Prabhu or any preacher is speaking, it is Krishna's arrangement only for your sake. Right? You asked for it, that is why he supplied for it. So similarly, our eagerness has to increase, our faith and our hope for Krishna has to be more, then Krishna will gradually arrange. And he doesn't test us as like gopis because he knows that we cannot bear that kind of thing, right? But he is telling us all this knowledge through the gopis and Srimati Radharani so that we can have faith that we can also grow in bhakti. We can also reach to a stage, a pure devotional love that we can have just like gopis and Srimati Radharani over a period of time. If we are faithful, if we are confident that Krishna is there. Sometimes we get overconfident about our anarthas, our about shortcomings and all. We will say like, even Krishna cannot help, right? I don't think so that I will become. See, what we think, it doesn't matter. Okay, because Krishna is Swarat, he's Sarva Shaktiman, he can do anything. So we should have faith in Krishna's. More than in our anarthas, we should have faith in Krishna's qualities and Krishna's promises. Then what will happen? We will get elevated for sure. So the Shikshashtakam that we have actually studying it, so it is the arrangement of Krishna. See, many times we see that some of the great devotees, they were in search of God, but actually many of us are not searching of God. Actually devotees are searching in search for us, and they brought us to God, and they are trying to maintain our God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is already arranging so many things. We have to be little more sincere, and we have to gradually increase our intensity in bhakti so that one day we can reach to this mode of Shikshashtakam 8. What it says, Ashlishya va padaratam pinashtumam अदर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत् प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः. Let Krishna tightly embrace this maid servant who has fallen at his lotus feet. See, when we have fallen at someone's lotus feet, they have all the rights to do whatever they want to do. We cannot put a condition like, I am fallen at your feet, but you have to give me this, you have to treat me like this and all. We can have the reservations and conditions and all, right? That is why in the last we see that, after all, you can do whatever you like. Okay, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart. So this is the submission, or this is the summit of love, that we are asking the person to do anything and everything. As long as you are happy to do something, you let me do. By trampling me, if you can be happy, do it. By embracing me, you can be happy, do it. So whatever you want to do, you do it. I am ready to actually dance like whatever you like. Like in the Srila Prabhupada Markine Bhagavad Dharma, he says like, Krishna, I don't know why you brought me here, but whatever way you want me to dance, I will dance, right? So that is called submission. So today it is not so imaginable or comprehensible for us because we are not in that elevated mode of devotion. But if we know and talk about it, right? So this is the way we can reach to that stage gradually. And this is possible. Nothing is impossible in actually Krishna consciousness. Only our mind has so many reservations and condition. It says that it is not possible and all. But if we gradually try more sincerely, sooner or later, everything that we think is impossible will become possible. So this, through the Shikshashtakam, I and you all together are trying to elevate our mood so that we can grow in Krishna consciousness more fasterly, more surely, and in a more sweeter and blissful way. Okay. So thank you so much everyone for being with us for so long, for all these days. So it's been 19 sessions which we have done on Shikshashtakam. So I hope you have learned something and you'll grow in your bhakti. And you please pray for me and bless me also so that I can also grow in bhakti. Shri Shikshashtakam ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much, everyone. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.